Hi, Sarais. Welcome to your lesson number 6. We're going to do a quick review about what we have studied in class. As usual, and before we start, I want you to take a look at the examples about our little review of our last class. Remember, we studied the present perfect, and you have constructions with the auxiliary have and the verbs in the past participle form. So, for example, you have 3 questions here. What have you done today? Where have you been? And who have you met? I want you to look at the examples to remember how do you answer to these questions. Okay, so pause the video and take a look at the examples. As we studied in class, in order to make a negation for the present simple, you use the auxiliary verb do and the negation word not. And also you can make it in a short form, which is don't. And remember, here you have to take care if you're talking about he or she or it, then you have to use does not, or doesn't. For this part, I want you to read again the examples one by one and pay attention to the structure. I want you to pay attention to the verbs and also to the do, don't, the negation, or does, doesn't, when it's he or she. Okay? Another thing, remember that you can use I don't like and then put another verb, or you can use the verb directly. He doesn't watch, or I don't watch. Okay? For the past tense case, here remember you use the auxiliary in its past form. It means you use did. You add not, did not, or you can also make it shorter, didn't. Here remember that there's no distinction if it's he, she, or it, of it's I, we, or you. Here, did not or didn't is for all the personal pronouns. Once again, take a look at the examples, all of them, and review. Review what we studied. Remember, there's no this distinction when it's he, she, or it. And also I want you to practice with the verb do and make. Remember, make when you use more your hands or it's for more things you do with your hands basically. And do is for things you do more with your mind or abstract things or also with your own body, with the whole body. Okay? Now, for the future case, you use will not or won't. And once again here, you don't have the distinction when it's feminine or masculine singular, for example, he or she. You use will not or won't for every pronoun. So once again, take a look at the examples. Pay attention to the structure here. Once again, there's no distinction between he, she, or it. And here remember that the verb is going to be in its base form. So I won't go, he won't go, they won't go. Okay, the won't and the main verb are not going to change. Now for the present progressive case, here you've got to be careful because the verb to be here is going to change. It's going to depend on the pronoun you are going to use. So remember, for I'm or I am, you use not, and there's no short form or contraction. I told you some people use ain't, but that's ungrammatical. And in the case for are or is, you should pay attention to which pronoun you are referring to. So take a look at the examples here and pay attention to the verb to be. The second verb, which is the main verb, is going to be the same for all of them, for all the pronouns. All are going to have the ing form. So Barbara isn't singing. I am not eating. Okay? The eating, singing, working, etc. are not going to change. So for the last tense we have studied, which is the present perfect. Here you also have 2 forms for making the negation with the have, not, and also the short form, haven't. And here you have to pay attention if it's masculine or feminine singular, or even it, okay? So here, pay attention if you are using which pronoun. So for I, haven't. For he, for example, Pedro hasn't. And for she, my mom hasn't. And when you're talking about plurals, like they, haven't. And the verb is going to be in its past participle form, okay? So keep learning verbs, guys. Finally, I want you to pause the video and read again and again and again this little story. Pay attention to all the tenses you have learned. Pay attention to all the verbs. What are the forms of the verbs? If they are in past, they are in present. Um, how are they using the contractions for negation, for example? And also pay attention to words you don't know. And that's it. Now you know how to negate. So don't forget it and see you next class. Bye bye.